Welcome back to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. In this powerful episode, we delve into the extraordinary true story of Richard Glassman, a former corrections officer, and Joseph Hurd Jr., once an inmate under his watch. Their paths first crossed in the unforgiving environment of the Ventura Youth Correctional Facility, where Glassman's unwavering commitment to his duty led him to risk his life to protect Hurd from a deadly attack. Years later, their bond has transformed into a profound friendship that defies the boundaries of their past roles. Join us as we explore themes of redemption, resilience, and the human capacity for change. Discover how a relationship born in adversity evolved into mutual respect and mentorship, challenging societal perceptions of inmates and officers alike. You can also read the full article of their story for more context at Sun News. Let's get started.
You're listening to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the bravery of the first responders and the families who stand behind them. Real people, real stories, real heroes. This is 8158. Welcome, everybody, to the 8158 podcast, Stories of Sacrifice. I have two very special guests, Richard and Joseph. They are out of California. Please welcome them to the show. They have a very powerful story to tell, and I'm just going to go ahead and open up that story and let them talk their story out, and I think you guys are going to enjoy and be moved by what they have to say. Welcome, Richard and Joseph. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good. So, we're going to start from the beginning and, just kind of tell your story, how you guys met and how your friendship blossomed and all that kind of stuff. Just start from the beginning.
You. This has to be okay.
Yeah, I was a youth incarcerated at a young age, at the age of 15. An institution that I ended up spending about 5 years of my time in ended up being Ventura Youth Correctional Facility, where Richard was employed as a CO, as a correctional officer at the facility. Well, while at that facility, we both endured a lot of hardships throughout our time, and
Maybe talk about
majority of the hardship I would say will fall upon Richard. So I'll let detail about that.
Yeah, so basically, I worked in a prison. I was in charge of custody, supervision, but also rehabilitation. I taught anger management, victim awareness, drugs and alcohol. So we wore two hats. We wore the hat of a correctional officer, and we wore the hat of a correctional counselor. I was trained in both. I was a sworn peace officer, and I was
All right.
hired from the California Department of Corrections in 2007. I first started at YTS. It's where youth go from 15 to 25. If you're adjudicated, if Joseph had 3 counts of attempted murder, he was sentenced as a juvenile. So Joseph was going to stay with us till his 25th birthday and then be released as long as everything went good while he was locked up at my facility. So I worked at Ventura Youth Correctional Facility because I like dealing with the toughest of the toughest, and they're called wards instead of inmates. Anybody in a juvenile facility, they're referred to as wards. Wards
Right.
is the same as inmate. I worked on a unit where the wards didn't integrate. Whenever they were on another unit, and if they attacked another race or if they attacked a teacher or anything, we were on the lockup unit. Even though we were the lockup unit, we were still, our focus was on keeping things safe for them and for us. But at the same time, we tried to change them and help them. And our goal was for them to leave our facility at 25 years old to become better people.
Okay.
Joseph was the only black on our unit, and we had
Okay.
19 Hispanics that were mostly attempted murder, and all gang members, just like Joseph.
Okay.
On the night of March 10th, 2014, because the youth are so dangerous, when they're in the program, when they're programming in the day room, it's a locked up, big style room where they do their workouts, their burpees, they watch TV, they hang out. Unfortunately, they try to smoke weed, but we catch them. They use the microwave to make wicks, to light up the joints. So we're constantly having to go in there, get the stuff. So it's cat and mouse.
Yeah.
So this one particular evening at 7 o'clock, one of the Hispanic youth out of 8 knocked on the plexiglass and asked if the black officer could put the phone out, but he was working overtime. And I said, no, let me go in there because something might happen. So I opened up the door with my Folger Adam keys, which I think I have somewhere in the house. And I unlocked myself. I went in there and I put the phone out. And as I turned around to put the phone, to walk back out, one of the 8 started smashing me in the back of the head. And they called me Bone Crusher from the Bronx. That was what they gave us nicknames. All of us, they gave nicknames too. And he goes, hey, don't take this personally, Bone Crusher. We like you. Just give us the keys. And I knew in the back of my mind that they wanted to get him because he knocked them out. Because on the unit, every day we had to do something called a CI, which I would bring Joseph into the day room handcuffed. Then we would take another inmate, Hispanic inmate, into the day room handcuffed. And I'd sit down between the two of them and I said, okay, if we release the handcuffs, are you guys going to be cool? And of course, Joseph said,
Yeah,
we're going to be cool. And he said, yeah, we're going to be cool. So I would take Joseph back out of the day room, uncuff him, and my partner would uncuff the ward in the day room. And the second we opened up the door, guess what? They tried to kill each other. And Joseph, being the great fighter he is, constantly broke their jaws, their noses. He demolished all of them one at a time, like chess pieces, all knocking down. And they knew they couldn't beat Joseph by themselves, so they formed a plan. And going back to my story, on that night, I went to put the phone out, and when one of them started smashing me in the back of the head, they couldn't get my keys because I told them, you're not going to get them. You'd have to kill me. And then they decided to try it. So for about 3 minutes, it was 8 inmates against me. The whole time I protected the key. My keys were on a hook on my waist. So I fought them with my legs, but I couldn't use my hands because my hands were holding down the keys. They needed the Folger Adams key to get out of the day room and to open up the cell Joseph was in.
Mm-hmm.
They never got to him. After 3 minutes, the cavalry came. I needed 14 operations. They broke my back. They broke my neck. They damaged a part of my brain that controls digestion, heart rate, blood pressure. So I have out of control blood pressure. And ever since it happened to me, my last day I was working on the unit was March 10th, 2014. Every day I thought, you know what? I hope Joseph appreciates what I did for him because my life is practically over because I can't be me anymore because I can't run. I can't go to the gym. I have to be careful what times of the day I eat. I just hope he appreciates what I went through, and I hope saving his life wasn't in vain.
Right.
And now I'll go back to Joseph to tell you what happened when I left that night so we could put everything together.
Okay. Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah. So, man, when everything transpired, I could just hear the commotion from inside of my cell. I kind of pretty much knew that next day, that following day, something dramatic was gonna happen. But kind of the tone of that building that we were being housed in, like you were saying, it was high risk and it was like a lot of violence going on. So
Yeah.
you kind of expect something to be off, but you don't really know what it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I just apologize to you that happened to you. Nah, man, I love you, bro.
Love you too.
And what was going on in there, the gang stuff, I never thought that it would trickle over and affect somebody that actually was in that institution that actually cared about my well-being and cared about my transition. One of the only individuals that was there as far as staff that took the time to get to know my story and understand why I committed the crime or where I came from, how my childhood looked, and looked at me as a person and not just somebody that's a number getting passed on from institution to institution. And that, meeting Richard played a major part in me redeveloping my mindset. Stop looking around and blaming the world and start taking accountability. And
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, I hate that things had happened like that. And so that night, it got real kind of quiet after that. I was transferred to another institution. The 8 individuals that was a part of the assault were transferred to, I believe, the county jails. So we kind of never got to see each other again, which is a good thing because, the gang stuff and stuff that was going on, I was kind of venting from a lot of childhood trauma. And
Yeah.
I kind of took that personal because it was like, man, I was so isolated from everything that was going on, being the only black inmate, not speaking to nobody. It was the one individual that I felt actually cared. So I kind of felt that on top of that, that's why they kind of targeted him more than anybody else because they knew that this person was actually trying. So yeah, that was a hard pill to swallow. I kind of carried that on for a minute and took that real personal. But by the grace of God, the rest of my time, I didn't actually cross paths with any one of the individuals that was in the day room that day. Since then, I paroled.
No, where'd you go after Ventura?
Oh, after Ventura, I was transferred the very next day. They transferred me to OH Closed Youth Correctional Facility, where I spent possibly a month in their lockup unit. After that, I was transferred to Chadurgian Youth Correctional Facility, where, like he was saying, at the moment I had not programmed with other inmates for some years. It's been soon as you put me in contact with another inmate, it was on. So once they transferred me to Chadurgian Youth Correctional Facility, that was a big traumatic thing for the reason that I was getting transferred there. So I'm still like trying to rebuild myself, like, understanding that my actions don't only affect me. The time that I spent incarcerated, the things that I've done that took me away from my family, it took me away from my younger siblings. And then for something as big as that to affect somebody else's life outside of my family, I'm like, this stuff is still going on. It's still not just me, because I can take the blows and I'm ready for the blows that life is willing to throw at me. But now it's affecting people around me that I actually care for.
Right.
So once at this institution, I kind of slowly trickled out of my old habits. I wouldn't program right away. They were still letting me out and I still was venting. had a lot of hatred and bitterness due to the circumstances of the situation. So after about 3 months, I kind of just started to breathe it out. I wasn't able to get in contact with Richard to see how he was or to see the circumstances, the the level of his injuries or if he was all right or So I kind of just chunked it up, and due to the conversation that we had before, I knew that he wanted to see me do something positive. He wanted to
Right.
see me let go of the gang stuff. He wanted to see me stay away from the drugs. He wanted to see me choose a better type of crowd, choose better friends, start thinking about goals, start picking up my Bible. So without him being around and just hoping that if he could see me and if he knew where I was and where I was mentally, he'd be proud of me. So I just, I made the jump with him without him being there. I made the jump and start picking up my Bible, start clearing my mind. Start changing up the type of music I listen to. Start meditating, and at this time, I was able to eventually start the program with other inmates
of other races.
Of other races.
Okay.
It took a while to me to integrate, back with Hispanics specifically. But after a while, I was able to, and at this time, I graduated from high school. I obtained my landscape design certification. I obtained my forklift license. Also joined into college.
Okay.
And I was signed up to be a part of an electrician program. I didn't have that much time there. I ended up getting into. You want to speak?
Yeah, public debate.
Well, so I end up while I'm in this mindset, I end up having a negative conversation with another CO one day that we're on the yard. After experiencing somebody that's not just there for the check, that's actually wanting something better from you and pushing you to be a better person, that sees potential in you. It kind of threw me a loop to meet somebody to go backwards and meet a CEO that just pretty much thought I was a piece of shit. I was always going to be a piece of shit, and there was nothing that was going to change that. Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation, and he spoke to me in this manner, and we both got aggressive, and I went to go push off. I went to walk away from the conversation, but as I turned to walk away, I turned and walked away in frustration. So I turned real fast to walk away. When I turned and walked away, I guess it startled him, and he swung and hit me in the face. So when he hit me in the face, I grabbed his hand, and he reached with the other hand. I reached with my hand, and we just began to just throw blows. This landed me in San Joaquin County Jail. From San Joaquin County Jail, I went to. They sentenced me to 4 years. From San Joaquin County Jail, they sent me to Wasco State Prison. From Wasco State Prison, they sent me to DVI Tracy. While in DVI Tracy, I was targeted again because I was in prison for assault on an officer. So, I mean, I was getting kind of the stare downs, and I was getting the comments and the stuff, and my room messed up. But one particular day, I'm walking down the hall, and I was approached by, I guess, the hard officers that are looking for individuals that get aggressive with officers. And they pretty much flipped me on my neck, flipped me on my head, and put me in a headlock and choked me until I went to sleep. And I woke up in the infirmary, strapped to a gurney, and that next morning they sent me to the hole. And that next morning I was transferred to Kern Valley Level 4 State Prison, where I did a year and some change there. lot of death, a lot of stabbings, a lot of murder. Uh, that was like a game changer because it was just a lot of fights, a lot of hands-on stuff when it came to youth authority. So I'm coming from youth authority straight to dead bodies in front of you. So a shock, a reality shock. Um, so I spent about years and change, almost 2 years at this facility, and I was released. Uh, After seeing all the kind of, the live gore or the gory type situations, my hairs were sticking up so high on the back of my neck when they released me that I honestly got out of jail with extreme paranoia.
Right.
I mean, everything bothered me. I didn't trust people. Because a lot of the situations in prison is the people that get you or the people that's closest to you or the people that's going to be responsible for removing you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of betrayal and snake mentality. After just being engulfed in it, it kind of it shifted my view of a lot of stuff. So I wasn't able to um, reintegrate that first time that I came home. So one of the first things that I did to cope with my paranoia was to purchase a firearm. So I pretty much purchased a firearm and kept this firearm with me every day. I went along with my daily routines. I had a warehouse job. Yeah, and pretty much didn't go out too much. Kind of isolated myself and still kind of had in my head that if I did see one of those individuals, I didn't know how the situation or conversation would go. So I was kind of mentally preparing myself that if I did run into one of the individuals from his situation, that I would kill him. I ended up getting back. I ended up getting arrested.
You were pulled over
Yeah, I was pulled over in the city of Compton
for a ticket.
for expired tags, and I believe in God, so I believe everything is for a reason. I wouldn't focus. I wouldn't focus. So they pulled up on me and took the firearm off of me, and I was back incarcerated for. I was supposed to do, I believe, 8 months. I ended up doing 5 years. Um, so while incarcerated, they sent me directly back to a level 4, which is New Folsom State Prison in Sacramento. While in this institution was, like I said, gory. There's a lot of murder, a lot of stabbings, a lot of blood, a lot of death. I was a GED tutor, pretty much majority of the time that I was there, just hoping that everything that was going on, it didn't make its way around the yard to me, and it finally did, and I was approached. We had an altercation
With another inmate.
Okay.
So the nature of this place is, no fist fights. It's going to be a knife involved. That's just what it's going to be. So I was prepared, not knowing when it was going to come or how it was going to come, but I knew that the possibility was like 99.9% that something could occur.
Okay.
On this specific day, I was approached. The individual didn't like my responses. Pulled a knife, made a move. I pulled my knife, and by the grace of God, I was a little quicker. So I ended up catching assault with a deadly weapon on inmate and the possession of a deadly weapon, which is in-house stabbing. From this facility, I was transferred to Sacramento County Jail, where I fought the case. And from Sacramento County Jail, I was sent back to prison, Delano State Prison. From Delano State Prison, I was sent to Pelican Bay State Prison, where I finished out the remainder of my time. I spent about 2 years in Pelican Bay.
Talk about how you got there.
After I paroled from Pelican Bay, Pelican Bay was different.
We will return after this quick ad break.
The William H. Bill Butler Jr. Foundation is on a mission to honor first responders and support those who serve. We provide scholarships for families who have lost a hero in the line of duty, offer second chances to juvenile offenders who are working to rebuild their future, and help new recruits pursuing careers as first responders. Through generous donations and the sale of merchandise, we're building a community that uplifts, empowers, and creates lasting impact. You can be a part of this mission as well. Visit 8158podcast.com to donate or shop today. Together, we can support those who serve, honor those we've lost, and give hope to those who need it most.
The saying, I just think about this saying all the time, like, you gonna mind somebody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people to mind in Pelican Bay.
I imagine.
So, I got my act together. I was able to get a job in the kitchen, and I ended up connecting with my actual love for cooking.
Okay.
So when I paroled,
That program.
I was told about a program through my auntie, an aunt of mine, called Homeboy Industries. So when I paroled, I got with my parole officer. I told him what I was trying to do. I told him I'm cool on the prison, and then the fellas in Pelican Bay, a lot of people don't get a second chance. So all the people that are fighting, it's not just lifers, it's people with like life, not like he got a life sentence. I'm talking about he got 3 life sentences.
Oh, wow.
Or he got 2 life sentences, and his actual time is 160 years or 220 years. So for me to go to an institution and only have 2 years and parole, everybody is giving me the evil eye.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you come back. So that was another reason to put the fire up under me. Like, I cannot go back. So yeah, joined the program June 2023. Man, I had met a counselor by the name of Andrea, which took on my case. It's like a 16-month program. First, you start off doing about 4 or 5 hours out the day. You taking classes, anger management, social skills, cognitive thinking, meditation. You can get your GED. They got college classes. They got a bunch of different programs that you can enter in to start getting the ball rolling. I stayed with the program for the complete 18 months, the duration of the program that it runs. While at the program, I was linked with another program called Bread and Roses Training Kitchen in the city of Venice, which was a 4-month culinary training course, which I completed. As well as I've worked in different areas. I've worked at the front desk clerk for Homeboy Industries. I've been their actual front desk clerk when you first walk through the front door. They have a recycling center where I was a supervisor at the recycling center. So Yeah, pretty much to catch up.
Do you want me to start now? How I got a hold of you?
Okay, yeah.
I was
Okay.
just going to ask that. How'd you guys get back together?
Okay, that's what I'm going to tell you the whole story. I'm the type of guy that on my bucket list in life was seeing Joseph because I don't have enough credits yet to get into heaven. So I think I need to go a little bit further because of my wild past growing up in New York.
Right.
And I always thought, you know what? When Joseph gets out, I'm going to make sure and dedicate part of my life to keeping him straight because I never had kids. It's just my wife and I need a purpose in life. And this whole thing that happened had meaning to me. The meaning
Okay.
I got was that just because something terrible happened to you, it cannot stop me from wanting to help people. And all my friends are parole officers because the juvenile prison's closed. And I get a call one day and I said, hey, one of my parolees showed me a picture and your boy heard he got out and he's in a special program. So he gave me the phone number and I called up the program. I said, hey, I told him my story and I said, please have Joseph give me a call. So one night out of the blue, they called me and told me they were going to put Joseph on. And we spoke, and it was like I just seen him. He used to say, when I used to leave prison at night, he goes, say hello. What would you say to me, teasing me every night on, like, drive safe and say hello to Mrs. Glassman. How'd you say it?
Oh, man. Say hello to Mrs. Glassman, man.
Yeah, so him and I would always like tease each other. I'd say something like, yeah, on the way home, I'm going to go visit your girlfriend. And we had this great, funny, we both respected each other and we never, ever, ever went out of bounds other than I'm there to help him. I'm there to keep him safe and try to make him better. So when we spoke, I live in a beautiful town in Seal Beach, California. I said, Joseph, I want you to come down and come to the beach.
Right.
And sure enough, he came down, we met, we had lunch. My whole community is mostly white. And Joseph came down and we're walking down the street. We're going on the pier and they're kind of looking at me, looking at him. They're not out. It's a really nice city, but they're not used to seeing, I don't think, many minorities.
Okay.
And it was cool because this old lady, we went to get coffee and some lady came up to Joseph. She goes, hey, you work at Homeboy Industries? Because he was wearing a shirt. And then she goes, can I give you a hug? And Joseph hugged her and she started talking about how her husband died. And right away, I saw a completely different Joseph. And I'm like, my community is going to love him. And he kept coming down and we kept going to lunch. And I said, Joseph, wouldn't it be great if you and I could go to the prisons? So I know the secretary of the Department of Corrections. And I said, hey, I know right now there's a lot of staff assaults. And I'd like to come to the prison with Joseph. And we could talk about bridging the gap between officers and inmates. So both Joseph and I went to CIM prison in Chino, and they loved us. And all the prisons now want us to come to talk to tell our story because most inmates, in my opinion, look at me and them as completely, not enemies, but completely different worlds. They feel we don't care about them. So they live their life, we live our life, and it's up to us to figure out what they're doing, and it's up to them to figure out where we're at. So Joseph and I built up a continuation of our great relationship where we really want to help people and we want to really bridge the gap so that I feel if there were more me's in the prisons where Joseph went after me, I don't think Joseph would have gotten to the situation where he ended up spending 17 more years in prison.
Right.
I think if some of the officers looked at it like, you know what, we're not just there to stop them from doing crazy things. There's nothing wrong with talking to an inmate. Like I was the type of guy that I would always say, hey, what's going on, Joseph? How was school today? He would say to me, hey, what's on your mind? Something bothering you? And I'm like, how'd you know that? He goes, I could tell. But I feel like the in adult corrections and the academy, they don't want you to talk to inmates because if a sergeant or lieutenant saw you talking to inmates, they'd be like, "What's this guy doing? What's this guy bringing?" So they make it where you can't be seen talking to an inmate, but it's not like that in juvenile. But in adult, especially, if inmates saw Joseph talking to a correctional officer, they're going to think he's snitching. So I guess
Right.
in adult prisons, they got to make it easier to bring the conversation between the incarcerated and the officers together where there's nothing wrong with an officer in the yard where he's still watching everything, but I could still talk to Joseph. Hey, Joseph, how was your day? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't mean losing the focus of keeping everything safe, but they got to destroy the wall between officers and the incarcerated.
Exactly. Got to bridge that gap.
So this week, Joseph's car, a couple of weeks ago, Joseph's car, while it was parked, got smashed, and he was going to rent a car. And I said, I don't do anything because I really am not allowed to drive far because of the medication that I'm on after my attack. So I lent Joseph worked at this restaurant, and he met me tonight in my house to give me my car back. And now Joseph and I speak all the time on the phone. Joseph has a great fiance named Nakisha who's standing over here that is absolutely beautiful, and she's keeping him. It's like when I'm not around, she is making him 10 times better than I could have. And
She wants to come on here and say hi.
yeah, you want to meet her?
Yeah.
Here's Nakisha.
They want to meet you.
Tell me your story. His name's Rico.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going? I hear you're the lady of the evening, the one that keeps this young man in check.
Well, I try.
Okay. That's good. That's good. We all need that, powerful woman in our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Behind every man is a great woman.
Oh,
Thank you.
It's pretty awesome.
okay.
I'm glad
So
you had that support.
so now
Nice
that
to
you
meet
know the whole story, and Joseph and I call him my brother. When I speak to him, I say at the end of every call that I love you, and he says the same thing. We grew up totally. Well, I grew up in New York, totally never had a black friend because in my area there weren't any.
Yeah,
And I never dealt with other races until I went into corrections. And now he's my brother, and I'm his brother. And
that's
do you have
awesome.
questions?
I just I don't have any specific questions at the moment. I just want to say that, I'm very proud of the work that you're doing, Richard, and also, I'm very proud of you, Joseph, for having the courage to overcome a lot of the struggles that you've been through. And trust me, I know where you're coming from. I did 14 years in prison, and
Man.
I came out the other end a better man because I made the right decisions. And I'm fairly, I wouldn't say like extremely successful. I'm not like a rich man, but I'm rich at heart. I'm happy. I own a house and I have a great job. I do this podcast on the side to honor my cousin, because he was a sheriff's deputy who was killed in the line of duty. That's why we started the podcast. I'm a president of uh, a foundation, and so it's your story isn't written yet, so anything is possible for you.
Okay.
The world is your oyster, so you can make it however you want.
Man, thank you. Likewise, man, it's good hearing that somebody already in that seat. Man,
Yeah.
now I know that seat and that throne exists for individuals like us, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm definitely proud of Richard for, having the strength to be the generous and kind person that he is, to have a heart and to care so much about people, because there needs to be more of that. I see a lot of my cousin's personality in Richard because that's how he was. You know, a caring person. He wasn't the kind of officer that would, want to be run and gun. Even if he arrested somebody, he still had an impact on their life. Whether it was positive. He always had something kind words to say to them, or some counsel them in some way to try to get them on the right track.
Right.
So, I mean, it's awesome, and I love to see that gap, that bridging that gap. That's just amazing. I didn't have that kind of support in prison, but I did have a lot of officers, say, "Hey, you can do it. You're not that kind of guy. You're not the revolving door. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep pushing forward." You know what I mean?
But did you see a difference? Did you see a difference in the officers that were more like your cousin, and then the officers that were more like, you're on this side, I'm on that side, stay on that side?
Yeah,
Or do you,
yeah. There's a huge difference, and they generally didn't get out of line with you because they wanted to keep to themselves. Uh, the only time that those officers uh, ever did anything to inmates is if there was a target on their back. So, like, if the inmate put himself out there to be a target, that's when those are the ones they went after. Uh, I just kept my head down. I kept doing what I was supposed to do. I did my classes. I did everything I could to keep my mind busy. I got a CDL when I was in prison, and I put that to use. And I make fairly decent money at it.
yeah,
And
Come on, man.
Joseph is trying to get his criminal record expunged, and he has so much support from the wardens of the prisons, me, all my parole friends who work with him. So I'm praying that it gets expunged.
that would be awesome. That would be good to see that happen. Because I totally understand the childhood traumas. I've been through all of that stuff. And, I suffer from severe anxiety and panic attacks. So I'm on a lot of educations for that. Uh, and a lot of that stuff that happened to me when I was a kid, that obviously played a role in why I went to prison. And, I see a lot of myself in you. I know you're probably a lot younger than I am because I'm 47 years old. So,
Okay.
You're 47 years young, man. You're 47 years young. No, I'm 31.
okay. Okay. So,
Yes, sir.
you're not too much farther off for me, but you know, uh yeah, so
I'm
I mean 14 years
65.
of my life, it wasn't wasted.
Right. I'm 65 years old this year.
Okay, you're
I'm
still
kind of
young.
old. I got my Medicare. I got my Medicare
yeah.
card the other day, and I freaked out. I'm like,
Yeah,
Medicare card.
Medicare. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's just amazing to see the story and to hear how things have come together. It's something you don't hardly ever see, and there's always a negative when it comes to officers and people on the streets, and with correctional officers and inmates or wards. You know, uh, I was in juvie. Obviously, I'm from California. I was born in the Bay Area. I was born in Oakland, California,
Okay,
and
okay.
I lived in Hayward. So I'm from the East Bay. Uh, did a lot of juvenile time in San Leandro, Alameda County Juvenile Detention Facility, and also was in the San Joaquin County Juvenile Correctional Facility. So I know where that's at.
Yeah.
I know where Tracy is at. I used to live in Tracy.
Right.
Yeah. They had a prison called Preston in Tracy.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I'm so glad I met you last night on TikTok, because I couldn't believe how real you were, and the way you spoke, and the way you could just feel how good of a person you are. And I said, you know what? One day I'd like to talk to this guy in person because we're similar, and he's outstanding. And I think if the word gets out there that criminals aren't always criminals, and not COs are all bad, I think inmates would get out. I don't even like calling them inmates. Incarcerated people would get out
Yeah.
of prison sooner because they would realize that we're a team working together. We're not here to keep you in prison. We're here for you to come out, because you're going to be my neighbor one day. And I want a great neighbor, just like this.
Right.
Right.
That makes sense.
But
Exactly.
yeah, if we could do anything for you anytime, let us know. And Joseph is a fabulous chef.
So you need some
Okay.
catering.
Yeah.
I'll let your boy.
That would be nice. I'm all the way in Kentucky though, so
Okay.
I had a
cold if I
lot
mailed it to you.
Yeah, and if you ever want us on TikTok or anything, Joseph never did TikTok, but we could hook up, have some great conversations.
Okay. So, are you on parole or anything, or are you free, or just
I'm
totally?
off.
How long you
Okay.
been off parole?
I've been off for about 8 months now.
8 months he's off.
So you're completely discharged from your sentence.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah,
You definitely earned it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I myself have been discharged for, since 2013.
I'm going to show you the key they wanted to get.
Well, you feel, man, I got to catch up. You
And
free.
trust me, the first few years were not pretty. It was hard.
Right.
Okay.
This is the actual key that I never let go of.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Department of Corrections gave me it, and
I've
it
seen those
says,
keys.
in appreciation for not giving up the keys. But that's what
awesome.
the key looked like they were after.
Yep.
So the difference between Joseph being here and me being here was this key on my belt. And they never got it.
But you still have it.
He still got it. He still got it.
Oh, and they gave me, I have the Medal of Valor. You want to see it?
Yeah. If you got the Medal of Valor, let's show it up.
He said, yeah, let's show it up.
That's pretty awesome, man. You got a great guy that's got your back.
Absolutely, man. It's been nice meeting you, man. Somebody that's walking the same lines, that's headstrong, and it's actually putting the message out there so you can grab other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
And we try to help out first responders and other people, try to overcome their traumas and stuff like that. Me personally, I have other things in the works that I'm going to try to do, which I would probably encourage you to do the same.
Yeah, keep me posted.
Absolutely.
That's the Medal of Valor.
Man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Go pick this car
Yeah.
up. I have to go pick this car up.
Okay, so it was great talking to you. And do you have any other questions?
No, I don't have any other questions. So, I'll go ahead and let you guys go to your day or whatever you guys got to do. I'm on Facebook. My Facebook name is Brian Lopez. So, my middle name is Enrico. So I go by Rico because that's what my family call me. So,
Okay.
so you can find me on there, or you can get in touch with us on TikTok through the 8158 podcast.
Okay, we'll do.
Will do. It was great speaking to you.
Man, nice to
Yeah,
meet
it's pretty
you.
awesome.
Thank you for allowing us on your platform, brother. Appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless your journey, man.
Yeah, you keep it up too, bro. I'm proud of you. Just keep your head on. Keep going strong.
Yes,
Take care of that wonderful lady of yours.
Will do.
Okay, take care.
All right. Appreciate you being on. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you for joining us on 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. Every story we share is a tribute to the courage and resilience of first responders and their families. If this episode impacted, encouraged, or inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who supports first responders. Follow us on all social media platforms at 8158 Podcast for updates. 8158 Stories of Sacrifice is a team effort. Rico brings the stories to life through casting, writing, original music, and editing. Brianne Shipley as production manager, handling booking, social media, graphics, promotion, marketing, website management, and logo design. Please visit our website at 8158podcast.com. For questions, collaborations, or to share your story, our email address is contactus@8158podcast.com. Until next time, let's continue to honor the legacies and remember the sacrifices of those who serve, every brave man and woman on the front lines, protecting and defending us all. This is Rico signing off and honoring 8158.